Happy Monday and welcome to my Airbnb. I'm currently traveling, but wanted to do a quick video here on Monday, December 4th for you guys because my DMs are blowing up. My phone's ringing again. Guys, Main Street is back. And I just tweeted that. I said, all the calls and the DMs are starting to come in, which means mom and pop investors and AKA normies are coming back into the crypto space. And for anybody that's surprised, just know that over the past decade, nothing has changed. Not a single damn thing has changed. What do I mean by that? Well, there is always a story. There is always something, a narrative behind price action. And in this last market cycle, Elon on Saturday Night Live pumping Dogecoin to the masses was the top. In fact, it was the exact top in price for Doge, like within minutes. So people that bought the top when Elon went on Saturday Night Live lost 95% of their money. And now when we look at price action, we've been in an accumulation range and we are testing multi-year resistance. So from a risk to reward standpoint, I think now is a much better time to be looking at alts than when Elon was pumping it to the masses. Also, FTX was the bottom, right? And I know hindsight's always 2020, but isn't it interesting that when things look the most scary, that a lot of times is the low, right? Right here in November, over a year ago, November 22, on these panic days when FTX was imploding, look how that was the low in price action. And then about a month or 6 weeks later, that's when the market went back into bull market territory. A lot of people don't know that, but this is technically in mid-January. This is where we broke from bear market price structure and we went back into a bull market, which we've had several amazing long opportunities. And today we actually hit my first profit target at 42K. Now, does that mean I'm selling everything and I'm out? No. But what that does mean is the market has been respecting technical price levels really well all year. And right now, really, it's like the yearly chart that is kind of dominating because once we broke through this major resistance level at 30K, you can see the next major area is up here around 48 to 50K. But obviously, we don't trade off of just the yearly candles. Why is 42K kind of my first area? Well, it is a Fibonacci extension based from this leg up minus this retracement. And if you don't know what fib extensions are, I have some videos on it. We talk about it in the wealth building community, but it is just a really accurate way to find measured moves in price action. And you can see that 42 was also the magnet, the price magnet from 2021 and 2022. There was a lot of over under, and this was, a lot of people don't know this, but 42K was actually the most important price level of the last market cycle, because when we were below it, we pulled back to it. When we got above it, we pulled back to it. That's what a magnet is. And over the past, 8 months or so through mid 2023, it was 28K that was the magnet. And you can see I've got a bunch of notes on here. I've talked about the story of what's happened in price action, but isn't it just interesting to see how now price is starting to accelerate? And I think the reason why, all the messages I'm getting now are, Chris, what's happening? Is Bitcoin back? Yes, but it's been back all year. A lot of people just haven't been paying attention. We actually shifted into a bull market in January. So for the entire year, we've been in a bull market. And now, though, when you guys watch CNBC or any of the mainstream news networks, you're going to start to see, oh, Bitcoin's back. Oh, so be prepared for a local top. I don't know exactly if it's going to happen today, this week, or even this month, but when the Main Street exhausts its buying, that's where the pivot high comes in and we start to get nasty pullbacks. Now, as far as a bull market, though, we are still in the same narrative, the same mental model of the stock to flow exponential gains through 2024. So the price action is just confirming what we've known over the past 2 or 3 market cycles, which is in halving events, which is the bull markets start a few hundred days before the halving and typically go a few hundred days after the halving, which is coming up in April. So what's also interesting to note today is the fact that gold actually hit a new all-time high. Yes, all-time high in the pre-market last night. So Sunday night, when market futures opened, gold briefly spiked up to a new all-time high. And you can see it's been kind of running scared. It's kind of fading back. But I've been saying this all year, actually more than just this year, since last year, that gold is one of the strongest looking charts out there that I can find. And it's a slow moving chart, but my next target is up here on the 25 to 2600 level. We'll see what happens if price can get up there. But another thing that is interesting to note, if you guys take a look here, is, Bitcoin today is up 4 or 5%, but total 3 is red. So what does that mean? That means that capital is flowing to Bitcoin today, not altcoins. That's no surprise. That's typically what happens is Bitcoin makes a big move. And then when Bitcoin pulls back, that capital, some of it will get sold into other altcoins. So that's what we're seeing is right now, Bitcoin is getting the capital flow and alts are taking a little bit of a pause. They're basically flat on the day, but we can see Ethereum, which is another large cap, is also looking very strong on the USD chart. And I actually tweeted about this last week as well. Let me see if I can just pull this up, where I showed that ETH is at major support on the Bitcoin chart. So if we look at a multi-year chart going back to 2021, we know that ETH gained on Bitcoin during the altcoin season. And then during the bear market, it was tracking Bitcoin. So they were both falling kind of together. But over the past year, ETH has been underperforming Bitcoin, but it's now at multi-year support. So if ETH is going to break out, I expect it to do it here around this 2K zone. We've had an ascending wedge into multi-year resistance. And you can see over the past couple of days through the weekend, we've gotten a little bit of a pop here. And if we look at the CME futures, though, you can see there is a little bit of a gap now because that made that move over the weekend. And so the big question today is, are we going to gap and run, or is this going to gap and crap and try to fill that gap around 2100? You can also see the gap today on Bitcoin. So typically gaps will fill. So it doesn't have to happen the same day, week, month, or even year, but eventually most gaps do fill. So will we pull back? Is this the last time we saw 40K? I don't know. We'll keep an eye on it. But what I do know is Main Street is back. Things in the short term feel a little overheated and euphoric. And so when that starts to happen, I get a little bit paranoid. So what we're going to take a look at now is stonks, which have been putting in a little bit of a pullback here on the Nasdaq, but really it's just multi-week kind of consolidation. So one thing I'm looking at today and tomorrow is, how does Bitcoin respond to stocks, or do they trade completely inversely or randomly or together? What I like to see is during Bitcoin bull markets, when Bitcoin is actually making a gain above stocks. And there's a ticker you can type into your trading view here, where you can look at Bitcoin priced against the Nasdaq, and you can see that Bitcoin is getting a really big pop. It's up over 5% today compared to the Nasdaq. And this is what I wanted to see. I wanted to see Bitcoin start to trade with a purpose of its own, not just tracking the stock market. And this is, again, what we saw back in the bull market of 2021. And then stocks and Bitcoin fell together throughout 2022. And right now, you're starting to see Bitcoin gain significantly and have actually a really nice breakout pattern. And my expectation is that this will continue through next spring when the halving happens. So obviously, there's a lot of variables, guys. There's nothing that's guaranteed, but price action is truth. And I let the charts dictate how I trade and invest. So again, just kind of a quick video that I wanted to do for this Monday morning to kick you guys off, talk about my thoughts, and just stay safe out there. Yes, there's a lot of excitement. My last video, I talked about how it's dangerous right now to think that this is shotgun season, where if you just buy any alt, it's going to go up. That is still not the case, guys. You got to be really careful. And if you doubt me, just look at total 3 chart. We've been in popcorn season, but we are not in a quote unquote real altcoin season until we break up above 450 billion on the total 3 market cap when we exclude ETH and Bitcoin. And I just don't know. We have a lot of headwinds. We have a lot of regulatory scrutiny, all that stuff I've been saying all year. Just stay safe. I've been leaning into Bitcoin. I've got some ETH and some other large caps as well, and some starter positions and smaller alts that we've been talking about in the community. But I hope this is helpful. Guys, check out the links below, get the newsletter, check out the weekly pod with Travis and Nikki, and go to chrisdunn.com/community to check out the wealth building community if you want to get in Discord and our live classes. And I will talk to you guys real soon. Like this up, share it up. See you in the next video. Take care.